Hello there. Right, the front end, done a little bit more to it, not much. Let's have a look. Hey. So, after yesterday, we've got these little collar clamps, stopping that moving traversely. I've got some more to put on the top yet. I've tightened the coupler up and it works reasonably well as an anti-roll bar together, which I can take off for bouncier tracks like grass and rough ground, and I can put back on for less bouncy tracks like tarmac, which will be nice. The geometry still stayed stationary. I've got it tied together with string and clamps at the moment so that the wheels don't kick out. And you can see it's sitting on its own springs now. The anti-return bands have gone in. I put a photograph of those up yesterday. So they're on little hand turned bobbins out of Delrin, bolted through. All the bolts are way too long. I've got to do a bolt count and buy some proper bolts. Everything's sitting nicely. It's still bouncing well. Yep, got about the right amount of movement for the suspension, which I'm happy with. Unweighted, it sits slightly high at the front. When I put my weight where my weight's going to be, it levels out nicely, so I think I've got things right there, and all the string lines are pretty much hitting the marks where I'd hoped they'd hit. You can see the front string line there connecting the two is just in so touching. Well, it's actually just not touching the front of that spring, so I'm close, but close is okay. There will be a slight, very slight, maybe a millimetre or two deflection unless I move my take-off points on my arms back a bit, but I can do that also because I've got plenty of movement in the rack I've built. The rack is, well, it's around here somewhere. There it is, rack mark 2. That obviously, if I'm going to use it, it's going to mount upside down, so that'll mount that way up there with the teeth facing downhill, somewhere around there, and that'll pull those two arms in when I get that sorted out. I've put a board on the floor there with 4 inches off the concrete and sat in it, and there's room even for my big frame. Right, let's have a look at the back end. So what I'm intending on doing in the back end is mounting the motor low and forward of the axle. Now, because I've got feet up front past the axle line there, that's given me space to do that there. That'll give me a nice low centre of gravity on the engine, a bit of weight on the back end, which it's going to need because most of the weight's forwards on this kart. And then I've got to make a frame. I've mocked one up out of wood, one half of it anyway, to emulate the real thing. It had these long tapered pieces for supporting the wheels. So I'm going to do something in steel about like that. Those black bits will get cut off on the corners and a bit welded in to bring the frame more rounded at the back and take the boat tail end. Ditto on that side. I haven't put the members in that side, no reason. I'll just do one at a time, save wasting wood and time. The drive, as you can see there, everything fits and packages really nicely. I've got to make a cradle for that engine. It will be ever so slightly higher up than it sits there, but as you can see, that's quite low. Anyway, it's 4 inches off the floor at the base at the moment. I want to become just a little higher so that I can clear the torque converter. So that's progress today. It's starting to look like a Cyclekart, 1.8 metres exactly, axle to axle. and 1 metre over tyres.